Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to One Good Question Your Friday episode of 50% Facts, where we take questions from you all. If you want to get involved, go to goodcompanydiscord.com. It's a group chat. Everyone's just hanging out, like-minded individuals. You get early access to all our clothing, so if you can't cop your size and things sell out, your best chance is getting into Discord. You also get exclusives, discounts, and you can get involved with the podcast. So, the question is from Benny G. How hard is it to see the fitness industry now compared to when you, Bart, Alan, and Omar were creating vids smashing weights? I feel like you, if I were you, watch the videos I see today of everyone being quote-unquote built different and all the various quote-unquote I'm better than you captions. It would be hard to stay quiet. Meanwhile, all of you crush much heavier weights and are super humble about it, sharing success and lessons. I actually don't think that is a new thing. Like a tough guy mentality, or whatever. Yeah, built different, or I'm better than you. I don't necessarily think that that's new to the fitness industry. I just think there were less people in general making content about fitness when we all started. So then now maybe the percentage is higher of people that talk that way. But
maybe.
Because like there was still tough guy powerlifters, tough guy bodybuilders.
Right.
And I don't know if it necessarily has anything to do with how much weight you lift or what you look like or any of it. There's just always people that I guess to play devil's advocate and be on those people's side in one sense. I think some people don't know how to motivate or communicate, so that's the only way they know how.
I think it's
like the Goggins type shit.
Particularly the motivate side, and they don't have. It just tells me they don't have a whole lot to bring to the table. Period.
Yeah, probably.
So hype is what they what they're bringing to the table.
Yeah, epic shots.
Yeah,
dark ass filter, crazy music. I think also again because I'm not a fan of people like that, and it's not who I follow or watch. But I don't think it's all on their fault. I think that if it didn't work and it didn't reach people, it wouldn't be a thing.
Right.
So obviously you can blame Instagram, you can blame trends, but you got to blame the consumer because someone's watching that and liking that video, which then gives them the signal, okay, I need to do more of that.
Yeah.
And so they go and do more of that. All the podcast clips, they throw epic music behind it and people talking about working hard or whatever. That's super popular on TikTok and Instagram. And again, I don't think you can blame the person on the podcast talking about it because it's just out of context clip. But if the consumer wasn't loving that, it wouldn't be a rinse and repeat, and it is. So I don't necessarily blame people or roll my eyes or any of it. I don't really care. Because I've never, the difference is, and I've said this many times, is what I don't like about that general idea is that you can take what you do seriously and without taking yourself too seriously.
Right.
And some of those people probably do take themselves too seriously, or even lifting weights. We're just fucking lifting weights. It doesn't make you. I've hung out with warriors, real warriors.
Yeah.
That's different. We're just lifting weights. So that does obviously rub me wrong, but yeah, I don't know. Yeah, sure, I'd love everyone to have fun and chill out a little bit. But it's just never going to happen that way. Because basketball is the same way, baseball is the same way. There's different characters everywhere. There's different mentalities in every sport. And social media, obviously, is just going to magnify whatever gets likes. And so people are liking that shit.
Well, there's a certain segment of our population right now who believes that the only way to be manly or whatever is to be an asshole.
Yeah.
And some of this is very, very borderline asshole kind of stuff. Very absolutist. If you do this, then you're this. If you don't do this, then you're this. Whatever.
Yeah, which again is magnified or proven, has a recipe on the internet of working. So in one sense, you can't blame them. I don't agree with it, but
do all these guys have shitty dads? Is that what it is?
Yeah, I don't,
because I feel like that's to a certain extent the case.
Yeah, it definitely might be.
I think it's very weak to look to look to a man that you do not know on the internet to figure out how you're going to act as a man.
Yeah, I mean, that's how you become Foot Clan and Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, and I do think there's something true to that. Or like any cult, you find like, yes, people missing a piece and then finding a piece in some community.
Yeah.
I mean, even powerlifting to some extent is like that, right? It was the sports for like misfits.
Right.
And that's why it's like not as popular of a sport because it takes a little bit of fucked upness to get there. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. It's not my cup of tea. I don't think it's like detrimental. I mean, the uber masculine shit potentially could be for sure on the internet with some messages people say, but like the I'm built different than you motivational stuff.
Yeah.
I don't think it's like ruining fitness. Even though I don't like it, I don't care. Though.
No, it's not ruining fitness any more than it's ruining anything else, I guess.
Yeah.
It's not specific to ruining fitness. Let's say.
Yeah. And it doesn't like, I mean, it's kind of like that grind set shit. Like it sends probably the wrong message. Like you have to wake up at 3 a.m.
Right.
And you have to eat oatmeal with nothing in it. And you have to run 20 miles and you have to bleed while you work out to get fit or be rich. I mean, some of that's just straight up false. But yeah, overall, I don't think it's a negative.
Like here's an example. It's the getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning thing.
Yeah.
Like literally there's a portion of our population that is genetically set up to not be most efficient at 4 fucking o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, I'm sure majority of us.
Yeah, I mean there are literally some people are night owls and some people are early birds.
Yeah.
And like there's variation in that obviously, but if you've ever been the opposite of that and you tried to work a job that caused you to be in a schedule that was not not conforming with the way your body just wants to be in its circadian rhythms.
Yeah, rough.
Then and so like if the idea is that you got to be up at 4 o'clock in the morning to be successful, what if you can't be as successful at 4 o'clock in the morning as you could be at 4 o'clock in the afternoon?
Yeah, 100%. There's just no way you can argue like efficiency. So if I'm more efficient in 3 hours, why do I have to work 20?
Yeah.
And it's just, I've always thought that way. But again, if it motivates some people,
if they do positive things that they wouldn't do otherwise, that's fine.
Yeah.
If they act like assholes because not everybody is doing what they're doing, then that's detrimental, but that's not just fitness.
Yeah, it's all kind of this weird sacrifice, martyrdom type shit. Like, take a cold plunge because it's tough. Like, yeah, man, fucking bashing my head through glass would be tough, too.
Yeah.
There's a lot of hard things. Walking barefoot a mile. But, like, why? What is it? What's it, like, actually lead to? And I do think you should challenge yourself. I do think there's things you can learn about yourself when there's kind of the quit now voice screaming in your head. Worked out with Tim Kennedy recently in Texas, and that's what he kind of said. He's like, yeah, I like these workouts. And then this is literal warrior. You know, this guy's saving lives in Afghanistan, saving lives in Sudan. He's putting his own life at risk monthly for others. And how he speaks about it is really cool because he is very patriotic, but he also just talks about lives. Like, no, I'm there to help people.
Yeah.
I'm there to actually just help people. And so for him, one, he has to be in that kind of shape because he's special ops.
Mm-hmm.
Two, and he's like, yeah, like I like these workouts when you're so deep, the loudest voice is telling you to quit, and then you can kind of see what you do or can't do. And I was like, yeah, like I do think there's some merit to that in the first world luxury shit we live in, to kind of push yourself
to essentially not be as soft as
or just know that you can win that voice battle in your head that we're all going to go through, and then if you do that enough, maybe consciously you can decide to also do that in tough real life times. But there's a lot of fucking physical specimens that can do that and can't do it in real life. So
right.
Like that argument doesn't always, it seems not causation to me. And that's my argument against all these things that people do, like run a marathon to be tough or blah, 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 blah. Is like if you can't transfer it or if it doesn't auto transfer to life, choosing to do difficult things is much different than how you handle difficult things that are thrown at you. And that's what people don't necessarily see when they see this 4 a.m. Yeah, waking up at 4 a.m. is hard. And yeah, running in the rain is hard. I've never said any of that. But if it doesn't transfer, if you're still bad at taxes and beating your wife and a dickhead, none of that really matters that you're in these uncomfortable spots for growth or whatever gimmick word you want to say.
Yeah, and the there's a disconnect for some people, and I'm just thinking about kind of the saddest scenario for powerlifters is somebody who's like super gung ho and pushing themselves really hard or whatever in the gym, and then when they get in a competition, they got nothing.
Yeah,
they're that they don't actually have the mental toughness that they're trying to display when they're training.
Yeah, and I don't necessarily know how you fix that. In sport, exposure is the easiest, right? You just compete more often. But even then, some people never have it. There's people that compete all the time, bomb out or fuck up. And those are one of the ones you can't control. You can sign up for a meet every quarter if you wanted. But real life, sometimes, you don't get to practice. There's no practice. It's only game.
No, for sure.
So I don't really know the answer, but I don't think 4AM's it. I don't hate the industry where it's. I mean, we had another talk with Russell Orhe about the industry and where it's at, and it's funny because he, talks so much about watching like me and Bart growing up and his early days of powerlifting. Then now he's obviously the guy, and he hates the new generation of stuff, and I get it, and I think it comes down to the same thing. Where we all liked fitness and we decided to turn on the camera and share what we were doing, where everyone just wants to be famous, so they choose fitness because they think that's a route to it. And that is a different vibe when you start to film yourself in the gym. And so I think that's part of this in a way, where this guy talks about them not being good athletes or strong or humble. But it is what it is. Can't really control other motherfuckers, so I don't try.
Nope, fair point.
Ladies and gentlemen, new episodes every Wednesday and Friday. 3sb.co for all your clothing needs. We got a couple socks still and some miscellaneous sizes and random tees. There may or may not be coming our birthday sale, so stay tuned for that. Hopefully in June. GoodCompanyDiscord.com. Join up. I'll see you guys in there. I'm in there every day trying to chat and mess around. I'm Silent Mike. Where you want to find me?
I am at the Jim McD on all the social media. This show is 50% Facts, where percent is a word and 50 is just numbers. 50% Facts is a Spreaker Prime podcast in association with iHeartMedia on the Obscure Celebrity Network, and we'll talk to you next time.